Hey, this is Arsena from Rambling Regan, and yes, it's the middle of the night, so of course I'm going to be doing a video. Also, because it's the middle of the night, you're only seeing audio right now because, yeah, I know my apartment's really dark. So, yeah. Either way, I wanted to try to do something a little bit different. I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I have like a series of other videos that I'm interested in doing. But I realized I never really explained my history with anime, and it's literally been all my life. I'll be 45 in August this year, and anime has literally been my entire life. I am the youngest of 3 girls, so I have 2 older sisters and one 7 years older than I am. And she was really into Marine Boy. And it was really interesting because we used to watch Marine Boy and Speed Racer.
Here comes Speed Racer, he's a demon on wheels.
Ultraman came from Galaxy M78 with extraordinary powers to protect Earth.
And Ultraman, Godzilla, Astro Boy, all of those things. And I think we were lucky because I was born and raised in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, from what I gather, even from doing research on this, was one of the very rare beds of just what they used to call Japanimation back then. Any kind of series and stuff that was used as a test market was actually used in Philly, of all places. Not necessarily, I expected LA, sometimes New York, sometimes Chicago, but Philly got a lot of series that were never really shown any other place. And so I have vivid memories of seeing 1 or 2 episodes of some weird anime that no one had ever seen, and then no one ever saw since. So it's really interesting because even later, I think it was in the late 80s, they had a Saturday afternoon sort of animation block, and it wasn't sci-fi because I didn't have cable until after college. I grew up poor. Cable was for rich people. And so, but yeah, I think it's either ABC. It could have been even, we used to have a channel called Channel 48.
In Philadelphia, the choice is yours on Channel 48.
And that was one of the rare UHF channels. Remember, back then we had 12 stations total, and in the early 70s there were 5. That was it, and just that was the existence of life. There was no computers, there were no cell phones. Cable, again, was only for rich people. In fact, they used to have satellite video. They would have these huge satellite dishes in the early 80s, before FCC took over and then basically locked everything down. But we didn't have any of that. I grew up with black and white television, and we got a color TV when I was 5 in 1977. Holy crap, did that change my life? But that was so totally different. So one thing that I noticed, having 2 older sisters, I had a very weird and, I'd say, difficult childhood. We had a rough go, but my sisters were awesome. I was quite blessed to have 2 awesome sisters. They taught me everything whenever they came home from school. So by the time I was 4 years old, I can read and write. Got to kindergarten. I had to go to 2 kindergarten classes to fill out the day. I had went to MG classes. I had all these extra things because I was literally further older than I was supposed to be, because again, I had 2 older sisters and they taught me everything from 5th grade, 6th grade, and whatever. I thought that was normal for me. The other thing that they shared was their passion for animation and to draw animation. I used to do flip books and stuff like that. I don't know if people understand what that was like. It's just basically cutting up pieces of paper, all in uniform, and you're doing animation, and then just over and over and over, just a little bit at a time, and then I used to do that all the time. And it was funny because my sisters they're still quite alive. But when I was a kid, they were the artists. My oldest sister was very much drawing, painting, sculpting, that sort of artist. And then my middle sister was also that, but hers was mostly music. And I was always technical. I got into computers very early, and just, I don't know. My sister used to always say, my middle sister used to always say that if it doesn't have, either a battery or an ignition, I don't know how to work it. It's just the way. I don't know. Yeah. I have some artist in me, but not to the extent of my elder sisters. Oh, heck no. But we all loved animation, and we watched every kind of animation. It didn't matter which country it was from. And when I try to compare it with other people that grew up like in the 90s and the 2000s and that sort of thing, my life was very different. I knew it was Japanese from the second I saw it. And it was probably, again, two older sisters. They explained all this stuff very early to me. And I can tell the difference between a Hanna-Barbera cartoon and something like Voltron. I mean, there was a distinct difference between them. Outside of the fact, and I'll go, like I said, my first memories of anime in general were on Channel 48. And they would have, I think they had Speed Racer at the time that I was really, really watching. Battle of the Planets was a little bit later.
Battle of the Planets. G-Force. 5 incredible young people with superpowers.
I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I remember it as G-Force. I never remember it as Battle of the Planets. So even when I was doing it, it's like, what is Battle of the Planets? Oh, that was G-Force. They had a lot of mecha shows. And for me, I knew the second, I remember what I was doing that day was when one particular show, I knew it was Japanese. I have no idea how I knew it was going to be on. I don't know if there were commercials or anything like that. But for me, it was Star Blazers. That aired in 1979. I was 7 years old. And so, 7 years old, I was in second grade. And I remember distinctly, it aired on Channel 48 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, I finished school at 3 o'clock. So we used to have, I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes before 3 o'clock. You had everybody already packing their bags. I had my bag packed. I had my bag on my hand, my foot about to go. I lived about 4 to 5 blocks from my school. And I ran home. I always missed the first, last time and blah, 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 blah. I got home fast enough to actually see the opening credits. And oh my God, I remember the opening credits song for the rest of my life.
Outer space, we're leaving Mother Earth to save the human race, our star blazers. Searching for a distant star, heading off to Iskandar, leaving all we love behind. Who knows what dangers we'll find? We must be strong and brave. Our home we've got to save. If we don't, in just 1 year, Mother Earth will disappear. Fighting with the Gamelons, we won't stop until we've won. Then we'll return, and when we arrive, the Earth will survive with our Star Blazers.
was amazing. People died. Not just people died, not like red shirts or anything like that. People, like, no one was safe. You had main characters died. That was never in any, I didn't know that existed. I'm like, ooh, oh my god, oh, okay, well, that is Japanese. The whole, self-sacrificing, oh, yep, oh god, this is great. And I used to always like, oh my god, Star Force, you only have like 200 and something days left. Hurry.
The Star Force flies on to Iskandar. Next stop is planet Balan, where unknown to the Star Force, the Gamelons await them. Can the Star Force survive the mighty power of Gamelon? They must, if the human race is to survive. Hurry, Star Force, there are only 255 days left.
That was my soap opera. I mean, this was 79 through like 83. I think that was at that point where my sister was watching General Hospital with like Luke and Laura, and I'm like, I hated soap operas in the worst possible way. Like, why anybody glorified a rapist is beyond me. Anyway, but that was my soap opera, and forgive anybody that got between me and that television, because we weren't allowed to watch television. It had to just really weird. My dad would go in back and forth on whether or not we were allowed to see television, but he was okay with cartoons. But he had no idea I was watching Star Blazers. If he saw what I saw, he probably thought, oh, this is too violent. And so he had to take my word that I was legitimately watching cartoons. And, but it was really weird. It just, anime for me, I had them separated in my head. I had the Japanese cartoons that I may or may not want to watch with my parents. And then I had the regular cartoons that were, that was fine because everybody else had watched it at that point. But Star Blazers, oh my god, Star Blazers. So fast forward now, freaking 30 years or so, 35 years, they had a remake of it. And guess what? I love it. I mean, like, this is how you do remakes. The only sad thing about it is that they botched the US release of it, so it's not on legal streaming. You have to basically buy it with gold bullion. So I live off of the official clips that are shown on YouTube on when they're out, because they have this weird release schedule where it's released on as like 2 episodes but in movie format. It's in the movie theater the same day that they're selling the Blu-ray for like $90 for 2 episodes. I mean, like, it's bad. But there was one, like, I can't even explain it. Star Blazers season 2, the best season of anime ever made, period. I mean, I think I have that entire thing memorized, and I've only seen it a few times when it was on TV. I bought the VHS brick. It's buried somewhere because when was the last time anybody, watched VHSs? But my favorite character was a character they called Trelena. And I think her real name is Teresa. I'm still catching up with the new names, because even when I was watching the reboot, and they're all calling each other by their real names, and I'm going, that's Mark Venture, yeah, that's Derek Wildstar, yeah, Captain Avatar, yeah, and I'm like, crap. I'm talking to my husband going like, what's his real name? And I like have like a wiki in front of me, like, damn, I have to like relearn this entire series. They added in, and they ended up adding more characters in there, which made it interesting. And for the first time, they actually had like cliffhangers that wasn't part of the original story. And I'm like, this is really good. So they had this clip early, I think it was like December or January, because they had done some other like a spin-off movie where I haven't even watched it or whatever, but they had only people like from the ages of 40 and over would even have remotely any idea by the first sound what it was that they were advertising.
古代ヤマトに乗れ。宇宙戦艦ヤマト2202愛の戦士たち。
So yes, from the first sound, I knew A, that was Trelana, B, that was Comet Empire, because Comet Empire had their own theme, and she had 2 different themes. One, the Telezart theme, and then 2, the theme that she makes whenever she does magic. And it's just, oh my god, I turned 7 all over again. Okay, sorry, 8, because it came out the year later, and just, it was, oh my god. So I am totally looking forward to it. Right now it's in the movie run, so we have to kind of wait until the whole thing's out, so probably next year I'll end up watching. But I don't care. But that was my anime life, because my anime life is very different. Whatever was on TV is what we saw. Tape trading didn't come in until I was in high school. I mean, again, I didn't have a VHS recorder. God forbid, I didn't even have a beta recorder. I never had one of those until, I would say, late high school. And that was, I would say, 86, 87. I mean, just that wasn't happening. So, it's funny because even when people did, like the illegal streaming and whatever, I was already married, out of college. All that stuff was just, I was in the workforce at that point. So that was very, very different. And, I didn't have a laser disc, again, money. I kind of relied on everybody else showing me their collections, and then I would buy my own, collector's editions of the series that I wanted to watch. Anything that I never knew about. Luckily, I had friends that had copies of it. My best friend had used to work at Best Buy GameStop, when they actually used to have anime. I don't know if people even remember that. And one of the things for the employees, they would be allowed to take anime home and games and anything, so they can learn what it is, so they can have an educated advice for someone, if they're planning to buy, etc., etc. And so he would pull up all that anime, and we're just sitting like over the weekends and just watch over and over. And it's like, I'll tell you stories about the first time I ever saw Tenchi Muyo. The painful way when you just don't have money, and being stuck right at a cliffhanger, and yeah.
Tenchi! 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 Tenchi? Tenchi? Where are you?
Kagato! Kagato, you have stolen the one that was most precious to me. And I will make you pay. You will pay!
But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna see if I can try to do more of these videos, hopefully a little bit shorter, because again, I rambled. But yeah. Either way, until the next video, take care.